Clint,
Hello.
how you doing, man? How was your morning?
Good, and you?
Oh, it's good today. No sunshine yet.
Nice.
So were you serious when you were talking about moving to Canada?
Oh, we'll see how it goes. My wife still got some time before she can retire, so. But it is getting ridiculous here. Yeah, let's go live in the Yukon. Some Starlink, be happy.
Yeah, you know what? Talking about it because I don't remember if we talked about it because we may have to go back. With some point we have to go back and reapply again because the lawyers screwed up our shit, right? But we were looking where to go into and stay on Airbnb. We like Airbnb, even though lately they've been too much of a.
It's been a bit of
They turned them into a business, basically, right? And
I think that was the point of Airbnb, but yeah, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of corporations buying houses and stuff and
yeah, sometimes
making it worse.
sometimes it's such a shithole, and they charge and they're upset if I leave, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I cannot live in this shithole. I mean, look at this. I wouldn't send the homeless in here. Well, seriously, it was one time in New York. That's what happened, right? But anyways, so I found one. I came across some couple bought the farmland actually in Ontario, close to where we used to live, right?
Yeah.
And there's some place in there you can actually get organic farm because nobody was doing any chemicals in there, right? And in 2 generations they haven't been spraying, and all they have a link in there. So they in the middle of nowhere, they have a Starlink and fuck, that's it. And then eventually you get another phone from Elon Musk and you can communicate with him when he goes to Mars.
I mean, if it works.
Heck,
I don't hear anyone else talking about going to Mars and exploring new exciting things. All I hear is other people just talking all this bullshit.
no. But hey,
And with that,
yes.
so I don't know if you noticed, Arcady, but you clicked on a stream now button. We are actually live on YouTube. This is SEO This Week, episode number 9. I've had this thing offline. Geez, Arcady, what is the last time I did SEO This Week? Probably. Damn, it's almost been it's been a while. It's some months, right? And the reason I stopped it is because, quite frankly, I just got bored of there's so much repetitiveness and there's so much junk and there's so much, this person's bad and this person's good and my SEO is better than your SEO and all that bullshit. And frankly, I get kind of tired of it. And it's not so much that I don't want to or can't call people out, right? But at the end of the day, there is something to be said that Matthew's SEO is going to be different than Arcadie's SEO is going to be different than my SEO. And we should be able to have conversations and have some respect about that without trashing other people's reputations.
Yes.
So that being said, SEO This Week is back. There's 4 people watching on YouTube right now, and then there's 2 of us or 3 of us with Matthew. He showed up inside of the Zoom. If you're an SIA member, you get access to the Zoom. If you're on the YouTube, you got to watch on YouTube. Sorry, sucks for you. If you're watching on SIA and you have questions about your own projects and stuff that you don't want on YouTube, don't fret. Those will once we're done with the show, as it were, then you can stick around on the Zoom and check it out.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask too. Yes. So was it the same time that you're studying or not? And I was trying to go to, I started to watch again TED show, right? I said, when is the time? I said, no, I don't have time. Let's just wait until 12.
Yeah, you recognized it.
Well, 11 o'clock your time, right?
No, it's 10. It's 10 o'clock my time. 10 Arizona time is when I'm holding the show. So, I mean, my time never changes, which is good. We don't do daylight savings time and that stuff here in Arizona. So, if you want to go ahead and schedule around and stuff, then it's to me, it's perfect for me because I don't have to worry about losing sleep and gaining sleep and all that madness, right? So,
Yes.
but if you guys, I think the change goes, Matthew, when does that time change kick in? Is it, it's next month, isn't it? November or something like that?
Hey, what's up? I don't know.
Daylight savings time. Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
next-
maybe November.
I don't like it. I mean, I just wake up. Okay, it's different time.
Yeah,
I missed it.
yeah. Yeah, so I do 10 o'clock Arizona time. We're sticking with that. Some of the SIA members may have noticed that when I announced that I'm bringing it back last week on SEO Fight Club, the time is the same. I mean, quite frankly, how many people we get show up to these calls on average? Maybe 4, maybe 6. Nothing wrong with that, but we can get some more perspectives and stuff like that too if you want to talk publicly about stuff, and maybe some of the YouTube people can pick up on some stuff. So random faces as they show up, I'll introduce them. That's Matthew Bennett. He's a cool person. He smiles a lot. He doesn't talk a lot though. You have Pim and then Arkady, the Russian from Canada. I think that's guy calling the Russian from Canada. Yeah.
And
That is
it's a long time already from the 30 years.
Younger version. And you got a haircut, I see.
Yes, that was like 2 pounds, man.
Yeah.
Hair. You should have seen me when I had all this hair sticking
I
out.
said, you want me to completely just, it would be easier for me to just shave you.
Yeah, don't look like a hippie now, so that's good. Let's see, Rand from YouTube. I don't think at the US it's wintertime will change. Yeah. Yeah, there is. It's one in November. Let me look it up. I think it's November.
Doesn't matter.
Uh,
It's painful sometimes.
let's see. Second Sunday of March and ends the first Sunday in November. Yeah, so the time will change in November. Sucks for all you. My time stays the same. G-Man, thank you, sir. All right, so I didn't want to. I wanted to keep this an AMA, right? But at some times you just get people who don't ask questions. People are coming in. People are kind of figuring things out, and maybe they don't have a question top of mind until someone starts blabbing about something. So I wanted to talk a little bit about indexing and kind of what some people are having issues with, what some people claim to be seeing, or what some people are seeing and claiming to be, and stating that they're an authority on X, Y, and Z, and just kind of look at that and see the problems that we're having. So recently in SIA, we just published a test for Omega Indexer. Elias, he's the guy that owns SEO Autopilot, Omega Indexer, and CodeLinkry. He knows that we're a testing group, so he gives us credits. In exchange, we test his services and make sure they're still working, which is awesome. It works out for both of us, right? So, an Omega Indexer they were 100% indexing, and then it kind of dropped. I gave them another indexing method. They were at 100%, and that lasted quite a bit. And then now that dropped down, and then there's a third method that they're using now. I don't know where they got it, but it seems really cool because I'm getting 100% indexing rate on good quality stuff. And when I say good quality, I don't submit my backlinks to Omega Indexer. That's just too expensive to do that stuff. But, I'll do some tests and stuff. We were talking, Arkady, about the Reddit tests. I submitted those, and 50% of those those subreddits, I don't want to give it away because it's going to be a SIA thing, but those 50% of those URLs actually indexed, and the other half did not. But there is a caveat. I had to actually use a specific URL. So it wasn't the communities like we were thinking, it's something else. So, but I figured that part out. Now the next thing to do is put some backlinks in there. So that being said, Omega helped me figure that out. We created it's not necessarily a mass site, but we were creating a mirror for one of our clients, and it was a site designed to build some backlinks, and just wanted to test it out. And if we mirrored a site like everyone said, and we linked to the primary pages on the money site, would all that boost up in and of itself? You just leave it alone and just do that, and you'll create rankings, right? Well, we did that, and I submit all of those to Omega. It was roughly 250 URLs, I think the number was, and they all went in, all 100% indexing. So that's good. Now, on the other side of that, there's still people who are complaining that Google is not indexing. I seen a snapshot today of someone who submitted to Google Search Console, and then Search Console still not reporting the page indexed. And I would lead all you guys, if you haven't heard me say it before, Search Console's indexing tool lies to you quite a bit, actually. So it'll either tell you that your page is indexed, and then you'll go to Google and actually not see it. So then you're like, oh, I'm not ranking. It's, I'm indexed, but I'm not ranking. When in fact, you're probably not even indexed in the SERPs. And then there's the other way around where it'll tell you are not indexed. And then you go look in the search results and you will in fact be indexed. So don't totally rely on Google URL submit inside of the Search Console, the URL inspector and request for indexing. Doesn't always work, and the reporting is not always accurate. The Google indexing API, we need to test that again. It's kind of on and off with that thing. So originally when they put it in, it was indexing everything. And then we did a test for SIA when it stopped. And what we found out was it was actually looking for the two required schemas. One of the two, it was broadcast event or job posting. And they had figured out how to get that API to look for one of those two schemas. And if it wasn't there, your page wouldn't get indexed. So we figured that out, and we were able to, at scale, link or index pretty much anything because we figured out a way to inject that schema into those pages, and it worked for us. And then finally, they kind of just got rid of that. I don't know if they did it on purpose or an accident, but they removed that requirement, and tools like, what is that, rank math and all of those integrations into the APIs all seem to work. And even SEO Press Pro, they put it inside of their plugin, and there's a few more. I think Yoast Pro now has submit to indexing via APIs too. And it all started working. Now people are saying that the indexing is not working, so it might be interesting to know if they actually switch those features back on in the APIs. So that's pretty cool. At the end of the day, after all my blah, blah, blahs, though, I will tell you that you should not be relying on one indexing method. Don't just get Omega and only submit to Omega. Don't just only use the Google API. Find 3 or 4 services. I use Speed Indexer, VIP, Omega, and the APIs. And that's how I continue to keep getting higher ranking or more indexing. And then I have a couple others. I don't necessarily know that those other ones are really doing really all that much, but they're thrown in with the mix. So like if I'm doing the GSA campaigns, I use the GSA indexer. I can tell you that indexing rate is horrible, but I don't care with GSA, right? And there's another one called the Best Indexer that I got off of the GSA forum, the providers on there, and I submit to there. I didn't ever really tested him out to see if I'm getting 100%. And then Colinkry, which is not an indexer, it's a crawler. And in some cases, crawling is all you need. So, but the point of the story is make sure you're using multiple resources for that. So with that, Matt, any of you guys want to share any resources that you're finding good with indexing?
I can just confirm that Omega is working 100% so far.
Yeah.
I've submitted just under 1,000 maybe, and almost 100% indexing rate. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Are we talking about backlinks or money pages?
I mean, you can do either. From my perspective, I only worry about indexing tier ones anyway. So
Yeah, I did both money pages and tier ones.
yeah.
Because if you go beyond that, like, it gets really expensive.
Yeah, crazy.
I guess it depends on how many links you build, but yeah, Clint knows what I'm talking about.
I think if you're doing an SEO autopilot campaign, you can actually turn on submission to Omega directly inside of your campaigns. And if you're not careful, you'll spend all your credits pretty quickly in one of those things. So you have to keep an eye on that.
Check.
Let's see.
So just out of curiosity, when you say a crawler is all you need, my understanding is if you put something in front of a crawler, it'll just crawl it and then it sends it into the pipeline, and then Google decides whether or not to index the page, right?
Yep.
So how do you know that Google will just crawl the page and not index it?
Well, you don't really care. Like indexing is kind of the happy accident. In that regard, take GSA links, for example. I don't necessarily care that they all get indexed because I know what those links are. I'm not trying to spam the search results. I'm not trying to get my massive junk ass sites inside of the search engines. I'm just trying to say, hey, Google, here's this backlink. And if you like it, great. If you don't, great. And if you want to index this, great. And if you don't, I'm totally fine with that too. So as long as Google is given the opportunity to give me credit for that backlink, then I'm totally fine with that. And that's where the crawling comes in. Just get it to crawl the URLs and let it decide, it being the algorithm, decide the best thing or the best course of action for that. And there's a couple of reasons behind that. One, we have testing in SIA showing that de-indexed PBNs, i.e. PBNs that everyone knew about, Google found them, de-indexed them, still pass link juice. We also know that pages that were never indexed still pass credit, or credit is still being given to the backlink center on those. We know that no index pages on communities, forums, all that kind of stuff still are giving credit and boosting rankings. So you put all that together, and at the end of the day, if you're doing something like a GSA, an SEO autopilot, or any other link building tool, it is not necessary that stuff gets indexed. You don't have to blow your wad doing that. You just got to let Google know what you're doing. Let's say you're making a mass site or doing one of those things, and you put a lot of time, effort, and money into the content, and you're making them look nice and all that stuff, right? You want them to be representative. You want to be kind of proud of what you're creating. Then those you would probably submit to Omega because you want those to be indexed, right? Mm-hmm. Hence the tier ones. If I make it a tier one for a client, I don't want that client going there and going, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? There's going to be some cases where that happens, but at the end of the day, you don't want it to be because you just made some trashy garbage. And we all know that there'll be other SEOs that'll look at your link profiles and be more than happy to promote and or talk about your trashy garbage. Look at this bad stuff these guys are building. to other people and more specifically to your clients. So you want to eliminate that as much as you can. So that's why the tier ones you put a little bit more thought into. But the rest of my tiers, I mean, I just do enough.
Yeah. Cool.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Of course, Clint knows a lot more about it than I do, but if the tests say that they don't have to be indexed to pass link juice,
Yeah.
you know, a
So
lot of people.
yeah, why worry so much
Yeah.
about it? Because there is a lot of money that goes into that, right? I mean, there are some different methods to get them into Bing, and there's some different methods to get them into Google. But at the end of the day, if Google knows about them, Google decides whether to index them or not. And that's different versus Google deciding whether to give you credit for the backlink or not. Why spend all that time, money, and effort to get it indexed when all you just want is Google to have the opportunity to see it? I think that kind of benefits everybody because you're not putting a whole bunch of junk into the search results, thus forcing them to turn the screws and the dials and stuff like that any more than they already do. And again, back to the clients thing. If you don't want the clients finding garbage that you made, then you probably shouldn't get it indexed. Right. So that's how that works out. Let's see. All right. So that was my hot topic for today. I was going to look in the news, but I mean, there's a lot of junk in there. I know that there's one where in mobile, Google changed the search results, the view, and you can now see the title or the name of your website in there. So it's the name of your website, the URL, and the title was the version that I saw and was able to get fired. And that's pretty interesting, especially if you do some good branding and stuff. So like you're on these shows all the time and you brand your agency, eventually all that branding starts kicking in, right? And then the same for local. If you're making sure that you're doing all the citations and getting the credit for your brand and ranking those citations for your brand, at least the good ones, that can be real valuable when you're trying to just get some more traffic using information stuff. And in your local market, you have your brand show up. They recognize your brand. My camera's going crazy because I'm moving around. They recognize your brand, and then your CTR will actually get picked up. So I think that's pretty cool too. Let's see. Oleg's got a question in YouTube. Do you think having much more W3C validation issues than your competitors can hurt your rankings? That's a good one. I don't know that you would. I mean, at the end of the day, there's like 5 factors. I don't want to say 5 factors, but there's 5 priority things you're looking at. And title, URL, meta description, in content, and in establishing your entity, and the keyword density. I know I said it. Ooh. All are really way more important in measurement levels, in my opinion, than W3C. I would say that if your site if everyone, let's say everyone in your market is compliant with W3C and you're the one that's not, and you're having ranking issues and you've done everything else on par to what they're doing, then I would probably look at W3C. But other than that, I mean, I can't remember the last time I went in there and did a validation on W3C. I think I had a software that was checking it, and even then I still didn't do it. What the heck's the name of that software that used to check that? Arcadia, you've been around forever. There was that software. There was like a site audit software, and one of the checks was a W3C validation check, and I forget the name of it.
You want to take a look at our document?
Let me take a look.
My memory is on the documents.
Yeah. It's a crazy old. Yeah, it's a crazy old software. I forget the name of it. It's like one of the original site auditor tools.
Is it not German one?
I think it was German.
Is it?
You're talking about Xena?
You talking about Zeno?
Not Xeno Poster. No, I'm talking a site auditor.
Not Poster. No, it's not
There's an
Zeno,
auditor.
the name for it. We have-
Anyway, yeah, it's been ages since W3C was. I think even then it's more like recommendations W3C in my opinion, and it's like we want to set these standards, and this is what good code looks like, and that's where W3C comes into play. Not unlike accessibility, which I used to be in the market of accessibility as a scaremonger. Don't invest a whole lot of money in that. But I'll tell you now that if you're in e-commerce or you make a lot of money or you're in health, then you need to pay attention to accessibility.
Or you operate probably from California.
Yeah. Well, it's California, Texas, and New York now. Those are the three states where those lawsuits are really getting,
Is that right?
yeah, ridiculous. So
I didn't
one of
know.
my rehabs just got hit $10,000 just to go away. That's what they ask for. So they have someone that's supposedly blind go
Mhm.
to the site, and then they do a check with the Wave accessibility testing tool. It's a Chrome plugin that you can find. And if there's enough errors on it, they'll send them a letter saying, we are going to sue you. And we're just notifying you that that's what's happening, right? We are going to sue you. And they're all pros. So if you respond to them before they file a lawsuit, they'll say, we'll go away for 10 grand and your promise that you'll fix the site. And if you don't respond to them, they will legit sue you, and they've been winning because they have that wave test, and they're using all of those errors in that wave test to say, look, see, it's proven
But
that you're not that.
is it statewide approved, or I mean,
Well, these are just the states that they're just kind of getting away with it via case law. So California, you can get away with murder via case law, right? And so and New York is the same.
yeah.
And so because of the case laws there and there's precedent,
Mhm.
they're just going after businesses now. And it really started with what was it? Who's the big one? It was Beyonce, her website. And her website failed accessibility, and they took her to court and she lost. And once that happened,
Mm.
that it became a free-for-all. But there's only a set number of lawyers. It's not all lawyers. There's a set number of lawyers, and literally their scam. It's kind of what I call it, because all it is a money grab. But they have people on staff that go to the websites, run the wave thing, find ones that have look like they have financial means and they can defend this off. And then they use a single party person. So let's say Arcadia was legit blind, and they sue on behalf of Arcadia or threaten to sue on behalf of Arcadia in order to get money out of you. Because it's cheaper to pay the initial 10 grand ask than it's going to be when they sue you in the court. So that's how this whole thing is going on. And I'd say turn that stuff on, fix it via something like Accessibility. I use Accessibility, or DevWork. If you have your own dev staff, then you got to put a couple people that's on just
There's
that.
so many plugins, and some of them are not. They saying they are things, but they are not. I'm not saying legitimate, but they do only just.
Well, yeah, technically you can create an error in that Waze thing just by doing updates and stuff, updates the code, putting new plugins and all that stuff. So Accessibility works to kind of counteract that.
Mhm.
And then you have the dev option, which is significantly more expensive. And the problem with the dev option is, let's say you have a team of 10, 15, 20 people who have access to creating pages and doing blog posts and all this stuff. You got a single dev on hand who's got to go through each one of those and make sure all the accessibility stuff is on par. I mean, it's not cheap to do it that route. So accessibility makes it just more of a better option.
So you're saying it's most like a health niche is getting hit?
Health, if you're in one of those 3 states, pretty much, and it's coming to everybody, but if you're in one of those 3 states and you look like you're making money, cosmetic surgeons are going to get it, dentists will get it, lawyers will get it, rehabs will get it. Your money, your life, or you're famous, you better have something in place for access.
Hey, what do you think would happen if you just fixed it and just ignored their letter?
They still have the backdated proof that it was bad at the time. So all they have to prove is at the time that Arcadia went to the website, it was not accessible.
So do they provide like a proof that that specific person came from this IP or something like this?
Nope.
Or, no?
Nope. They're not required to. All I gotta say is I came there. Here's the test that I found, the wave. Yeah. So there's some inherent I would think that in order to keep it legal, that the staff member who found the website has to give it to Arcadia and tell Arcadia to go to the website and articulate or prove that those errors were done.
Mhm.
And that would probably to satisfy the legal requirement of Arcadia went to the site and said it was bad.
Now, question, what if you block those states for now until it spreads further?
What do you
Yeah,
mean?
could you block the bot?
Basically geo, like, so you basically promote your site only by geolocation. So you know what, ignore California, ignore New York.
Oh yeah.
Way
I mean, that'd be a good question. I don't necessarily know that would actually work. Because in the U.S., right, it's case law kind of transfers nationwide. So if the Beyonce was sued in New York, for example, the California courts could still look at that as an interpretation of a law because it's the excessive, what is it? American Disabilities Act is what so that's a federal law, not a
ADA,
state law.
Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's not a state thing, it's a federal thing. So technically, if they wanted to see you have to, in order to get sued, like you have to express where people can sue you. And if you haven't done that, then the implied is that they can sue you where your business is located at. Right. So if you don't, or where you're doing business. So if you don't put on your terms of service that all, let's say you're in Delaware, that all legal action has to be taken in Delaware, but you do business in California, if you haven't said all legal action has to take place in Delaware, then I can still sue you in California. Make sense?
Yeah.
So I wouldn't necessarily consider blocking those states as a fix.
To go and check, I mean, every single pretty much, government organization or site and see if every single one of them will pass that, whatever, what is it, wave test?
Wave, yeah. Yeah.
Is it, so you're saying it's an extension on the Chrome, right?
Yeah. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Wave. Yeah, Wave Evaluation Tool. What's the Chrome extension you're looking for?
And WAV.
Yeah.
Wave, like Web Accessibility Evaluation Tool.
Huh. But hey, go and check every single state site and see if they don't have it. I mean,
Yeah, if you're getting, if you're tired of being, I mean, I wouldn't go after the government because the government will just see you in the brokenness. So,
No.
but
But they-
I mean, if
they
you're
make-
tired of doing SEO, just go make a lawyer friend and you know, pretend you're blind. And yeah, I guess it works for you.
What I'm saying, I mean, hey, they're going after the small businesses while the main government, who's supposed to be under the federal, I mean, it's the same probably in Canada, right? Is just not as violent as it's in US, right? Everybody wants to sue everybody. If the government domains don't have that, you know,
You wouldn't get any money. The only thing you would get is you would pay for the lawsuit. They would drag that lawsuit and make it resoundingly expensive.
yeah.
And
But-
then even if they lost the lawsuit, all they would be told to do is to correct the thing.
But what I'm saying is, if I were, if you, for example, have been sued, right, by these people, by this setup, while the government sites don't have that either.
It doesn't matter.
No,
Nope.
I don't know.
Just because the government of Matthew is not compliant doesn't mean that PIM can't sue you under the government of Matthew law. Yeah, you're out of luck. The government can run around and let's say here's an extreme. The Matthew runs around and he orders a whole bunch of people to get murdered. That doesn't excuse Pim for running across the street and murdering his neighbor. Pim's still going to get charged for it. It's just how that works.
Rules for the.
Yeah. Let's see. G-Man on YouTube said the same thing is happening on maps. They're using Google Maps to check accessibility to the premises and then suing. Yeah, that makes sense. I guess Maps satellite view does make it easier
No,
for those people. They don't actually legit have to go look for places that don't offer accessibility in accordance with the law, and they can just use Google Maps to do it. And then once they find places, drive to said place and confirm it, because they have to have some legal reason, right? I can't just go to Google Maps, find Pim's house and say, oh, Pim doesn't have a map or a wheelchair ramp and he's got stairs, so ergo I want to sue Pim. I gotta legit go to Pim's house and see that he doesn't have it, and then I can say I went to see Pim, I want to do business with Pim, and I couldn't knock on his door because he doesn't have a wheelchair ramp. So, and that's kind of how that would work.
You also think this will be like become a global thing, Clint? Like
What's
now
that?
it's only to become a global thing, or
I mean, at the rate that your EU is going and the rules and they're put in place, I wouldn't put it past them at some point for that to be.
GDPR started in 2018 in Europe. Now it's pretty much everywhere in the major, right? So this.
Well, it's in the US because all the white hat SEOs didn't have anything to talk about, and GDPR was a famous thing that they can scare everyone for. So that's why you can't go to a website without a pop-up saying, do you accept my cookies? I mean, if you look at the bottom of Ted's website, SEO Tool Lab, it says something to the effect of all websites use cookies for tracking purposes, and if you don't understand that, then you need to unplug your internet.
You should stop using the internet. Exactly.
Yeah.
For a while already there.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, if you look at all the regulations and all that stuff that the EU is trying to put in place and all that, I think they're more focused on like the big companies right now, but I wouldn't put it past them that becomes an EU thing too. And then eventually a worldwide thing. I mean, China and North Korea, they don't care if you're disability, but I mean, maybe Europe will. Let's see. Burglars will be seen because you have bars and windows. That's funny. Let's see. Mario, question about restructuring an old site that ranks and makes money. Example, a car magazine site, categories cars. And there are tons of articles and can't proceed with new content in these old categories. Would it be weird to start just with the new content and categories and leave the old stuff there? Would that be weird to Google? I don't think it would be weird. Any of you guys can chime in if you want to, but I don't think that would be weird unless you're like, it used to be a car site and now you put, I don't know, you start talking about trees, you know what I mean, or gardening or something like that, then that would probably be weird. But if you have cars, you got this old category of cars, and then you want to switch over to car accessories or trucks or truck accessories or big rigs or big rig accessories or conversions and that kind of stuff, then keeping that cars will be fine. I would also say though, if it's like stupid old, there's no backlinks to it and there's no traffic to it, then delete those pages. But if you have backlinks and or traffic, delete and redirect, or just or leave them alone, optimize them, and kind of squeeze the traffic and the juice out of them, and use those for your internal linking. So let's say you do some new stuff about car accessories, and that's where you're promoting it because you're going to get some affiliate stuff. You have all these cars posts and pages that you can link to your new affiliate pages, and you don't have to worry too much about creating silos and all that, because you have older related content. You can pop it in there. So think about the concept of niche edits. That's essentially what you'd be doing. You're just doing it with internal links. So that makes it a whole lot better. And Google will be cool with that. Yeah. You guys have any other ideas, concepts on that? Opinions? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. I want to expand. Now there are 700 unoptimized articles last year. Yeah. I mean, you define unoptimized. That's probably where I would start. Like if you didn't use, let's say, a Surfer, Page Optimizer Pro, a Cora on those, then, or any of the content editors, for example, I use ClearScope and InLink. So, then you probably want to go through and put a schedule together so that you can optimize those and get some more out of them. Because all that really is just you're going to end up updating. If you didn't use those tools when you wrote them, you're probably going to add, I don't know, roughly 100, 200 words into the articles, which will essentially, and you'll do it enough, depending on your process, you'll do it enough that every sentence in every paragraph is now brand new and you've updated it, right? So it takes you way less time to update 700 articles than it will to get 700 new ones rewritten. So I would do a plan, and you got 570,000 sessions. So last year, yeah, I would re-optimize this or optimize them since you haven't done it yet. Take care of some interlinking, maybe put a little bit of light schema on there. I say light schema, topicalrelevance.com, drop your primary keyword in there, and you're off to the races. Do like Craig Campbell says, he writes, I think, what did I hear? He writes 100 articles for an affiliate site. He looks and he waits and sees which, 10, 20% rank. And then those are the ones he worries about. And the rest of them he doesn't think with. So if you go through that, he says monthly average. Yeah. So that's perfect. So you got really good authority. You just need to take care of those 700 articles. And yet again, it's already written. So why not do it? Yeah. But Craig Campbell, he does the same thing. So like if he's starting off a brand new affiliate site, for example, right? He said he'll write out 100 articles, and then maybe there's 5 or 10 that pop off and have this good potential. And those are the ones he pays attention to initially. And then he just moves down the row until all of the 100 articles are taken care of, or he finds new articles to write about. That's the same thing I do if you're doing a whole bunch of location pages, for example, in local SEO, and you have 30 cities, you make them all, see where everything lands, find out where you're getting the most impressions versus traffic, and rank those, 5-10 pages first, and then just move down the list. So it's the same process. You would do the same thing in econ. Christmas time during econ, baby blue Elmo, he's really popular, but pink Elmo is not popular. Promote baby blue Elmo, right? So I think there's no more questions on the YouTubes. It's 45 minutes. I think that's a good value, good time for a YouTube live. 45 minutes. You guys go walk around 15 minutes and actually go do some work. Stop using me as an excuse to be lazy.
So are we jumping right after this to AMA?
No. Yeah.
Say
No, the SIA folks, you can stay on. Be up 15 more minutes in case you have any other private things you want to talk about. And with that being said, thank you all for joining me as we bring SEO this week back. This has been episode 9. Appreciate all of you.